Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Lamia from the Monster Manual 2025 edition for D&D 5e. Now, let's go ahead and jump right into this and take a look at what our large fiend has for us or has in store for our players. I don't know, however you want to say it. I'm just here to look over the monsters, not speak proper English. So we do have ourselves a CR4 large fiend, and again it is large. The only point we need to change that is to make sure we get our hit dice properly averaged out. We do have an AC of 13, meaning our monster here has no other types of armor besides its agility, I think. In any event, it's a 13. It doesn't say whether it's natural or not, it just is. From there, we have 13 hit dice, bringing us up to 71, but that will be modified with our stats of a 16 strength, 13 dex, 15 con, 14 intelligence, 15 wisdom, and 16 charisma. Now, with those adjustments, we have a 97 hit point average, which we see up here for the monster. Now, we'll move into the features area where we have skills, senses, and languages. We have nothing special here, so we will just skip past that and go right into the actions of our Lamia. Now, right up before we get into the actions, we'll notice that right down here we do have spellcasting, and as per the new design theories and developments for monsters, a lot of the offensive magic has been removed. These are all defensive magic, and therefore I will not be worried about adjusting for those, since defensive magic will basically kind of balance out the lack of defenses regardless. So we will just focus on the offensive area of our Lamia and realize that, hey, if we spend a turn casting one of our spells here, like Major Image or Scrying, that's going to basically balance out from, one of the attacks. Now, moving on, we do have the multi-attack. The Lamia makes 2 claw attacks. It can replace one with a use of Corrupting Touch. We do have a +5 to hit, and we have a Corrupting Touch of DC 13. So where are we going to go with this? Well, we are making 2 claw attacks, and our DC for the spell is a 13. We'll see that our attack bonus is a 5, our DC is a 13. So we'll kind of stick with the claws for now, unless we see that the Corrupting Touch is even better. So from there, we do have a 5, which is coming from our strength. We'll go ahead and put that 5 into the offensive section here for the monster, and then we will take a look at the hit dice, or excuse me, the attack dice. We do have a 1d8 plus 3, so that's going to be a total of 7.5 for our attack. And I say 0.5 because it's an odd number of dice, and you always need to add in that extra half a die. It is actually very important, because if you have multiple dice for the attack of, let's say, 13 d6s, that half a die will end up adding an extra 6 points of damage. So we have that, and then we also have on top of that another 7 points of psychic damage coming from 2d6. So we have a pretty big attack here for our CR4. Well, at least like it's, I don't want to say, maybe one pretty big attack. In any event, that's going to be 7 there for a total of 14.5. Now we do make 2 attacks, and this is again why I said it's important. We take this, and instead of it being 28, it's actually going to be 29 because of that extra half a point of damage on each of the attacks. From there, we will take a look at the Corrupting Touch. We do have a DC 13, which is pretty much on par with the attack bonus for our melee attacks, so that's not too big of a deal. And we can see that on a failure, we will end up dealing 13 points of psychic damage, 13.5, and the target is either cursed by, or has both charmed and poisoned conditions applied to it. So let's say here, if we sacrifice that, we are doing just a tiny bit less damage, but we do have the extra riders there. So let's take a look at that, what the extra riders will be. But first, we will go ahead and calculate the damage here of 14.5 plus 13 for a total of 27.5, and then we'll have the rider damage. So more than likely, this is actually going to be the better option, even though it's a couple points less. The charmed and poisoned could be helpful here. And with that, I will say, how long does it last? The target's cursed for 1 hour. So we will go ahead and throw in charmed and poisoned, which we will use the stench from up here. Where is that? There we go. So we're going to get +1 effective AC bonus for every character that's poisoned, and we're also getting +11 effective hit points for targets that are charmed. Now, we'll say that in theory we're going to go for best cases, but usually that's not the best case. When it comes to saves, we're expecting maybe 2. So we're going to go ahead and switch this to 2 targets, and we'll say instead of it being 1 effective AC, we're going to go down to this bonus here, and we'll get maybe 2 effective AC from having the corrupting touch. And on top of that, having a person charmed means, you know, they're not going to attack the Lamia, in theory. All right, well, we have that, so let's go ahead and see what we're going to do. So every round of combat, we're going to do one or the other. More than likely, we're going to go ahead and use this corrupting touch. So I'm going to put in the 27.5 here. And then we have one other thing. Like I said before, we're going to skip past the spell casting because it's all defensive magic. And we are looking at the bonus action now of Leap. The Lamia jumps up to 30 feet by spending 10 feet of movement. So nothing helpful there. Yeah, so we can go ahead and just start looking over our monster. And we see that we are supposed to be a CR4, and we actually have a CR5. So what can we do to fix this? More than likely, let's first off take and just do the claw attacks. Maybe we don't do the corrupting touch, or maybe the curses fail to apply. So yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So double checking the corrupting touch. There's no half damage here on a success. So it's a, as they say, a sucker save kind of ability. It sucks if it doesn't hit, and you know, it sucks on a save kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe that's not the proper way to say it. But anyway, in any event, let's get rid of these for the sake of, you know, what's going on, and we'll switch to this. And we see that we have a CR3. All right, so what are we looking at now? The CR4 may be a calculation of the 2 averages. Maybe we only do the 27.5 once. We get one of those, and then we get the other 2 rounds as regular claw attacks. Let's do that. Okay, so what do we do here? We will go ahead and put in... Oh, I just messed all that up. All right, so we're going to get rid of that. And first round of combat, let's say we do our claw plus a corrupting touch. Great. So then we need to come over here and add in 1 rather than 2. And we need to say only one of our targets is charmed. Maybe we're only able to get the 1, or we don't want to test our luck, and we move on with that. So then for rounds 2 and 3, we're just going to do the claws and see how that works out. And now we have a CR4, albeit it's a rounded up CR4, because technically we should have a 3.5. So if we wanted to, we could say, let's add in a couple more hit dice. That's the easiest way to bump this up to an even CR4. Or we could add in a little bit more damage. Usually I like to add in a little bit more damage. And we could do that by saying, instead of 2d6 for the claw attack, let's say we go with, well, first we'll do that. And then we will say, let's try 3d6 and see what happens there. Okay. This is a little better. This is where I'd like to see our monsters. A little bit more damage, especially in this case of the Lamia. Doesn't really have the greatest AC anyways. This is more of a striker build, which means they're in there to do the damage and not really take a lot of damage. And could be kind of fun to use this way. So if you want to more or less fix your quote-unquote fix the Lamia and it not be a CR6 or not be a CR3, your best effort is to probably first round of combat, use the corrupting touch once, and then don't bother with it again. Because with a DC 13, there's a good chance that your players are going to actually, you know, resist this and not get hit. All right, so that's the Lamia here. We've been able to fix it, and if you like what I'm doing here and you'd like to use this tool for yourself as well, you can do so by going to the link in the description below for my Ko-fi page, where you can get this tool completely for free, or you can donate if you feel so inclined to. You can also donate to the channel by becoming a channel member or supporting me on Ko-fi, and you can also buy a bunch of subclasses and actual classes for D&D as well as Tales of the Valiant. So they work for 2 game systems. You're getting 2 for the price of 1. And yeah, there's also, like I said, subclasses. Some are fun, some are serious, and a bunch of monsters as well. Beyond that, you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. There you go. That's how you could do it also. If you do any of those, thank you as well. It's super appreciated. And thank you all so much. yeah, we'll try this again. Take 2. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.